Guys, what's going on? It's a Block Ball right about now, bringing you the latest episode to the channel. Now, as always, we will be taking a look at some of the charts. So it's a daily update, Monday to Friday. I'm usually on here. Occasionally, I will take the Friday off because the videos just don't get as many views as they typically would Monday to Thursday. So I believe, Sundays are usually good. Obviously, everyone's not working. Everybody's at home, usually chilling, looking forward to the week ahead. So I could do Monday to Thursday, or I could kind of do Sunday to Thursday moving forward. But anyway, without further ado, let's dive into the chart. So as always, we've got XRP here. So nothing new has changed in the markets. We've still got the 34 weeks from the Bitcoin halving up until we start to see some serious sort of price action here on XRP. Now, the real blast off date here is, let's just mark that up a little bit more accurately. You could say 36 weeks after the Bitcoin halving is when you can really start seeing the euphoria coming into the markets. There's 36 weeks. Exactly the same 21-22 cycle. You can see this green candle here, how this aligns here. However, in my opinion, we don't really get going until this sort of green candle here, which would take us to approximately 37. So 36, 37 weeks after the Bitcoin halving is when XRP gets going. And again, 34, let's say 36, which should take us to the 30th of December. 37 is before we really start seeing any euphoria. So I'd say the first week in January of 2025 is when XRP really starts to pick up pace. I can't see XRP breaking out of this sort of narrow wedge that we are creating now going into Q4, even with the SEC appeal on the 6th or 7th. So I believe we're going to see a lot of retail traders drop off and grow frustrated with XRP. Now, this is exactly why I've actually rolled some of my XDC, also another suppressed coin, another ISO 222 coin, also suppressed. And this is why I've rolled some of my crypto portfolio into Gala, because I believe Gala is ready to go. We did cover that in yesterday's video. So we'll just have a quick look at Gala today. Now, this is on the weekly time chart. What I'll do is I'll zoom in onto the daily. I don't tend to go on the micro sort of scale, say anywhere below the daily. But there we go. You can see it there. I've just highlighted it and I've tweeted that out today. So this green candle here is today's candle. And you can see we're breaking out this 6-month resistance, which has been created here from around the 10th of March this year. So that's 6 months. Over 6 months now of resistance, and Gala is now breaking it. We're looking to get up into this green order block here. So from current sort of price action, we're looking at the moment from anywhere from about 230 all the way up to about 400% increase. Okay, and that's somewhere in this green box here. I'll be taking profits and rolling back into either XDC, XRP, or I may add to my Velo. Now, let's take a look at some of the other charts. Now, I do want to bring your attention to Bitcoin as well, because the market is awaiting Bitcoin to make a decision. Now, this is my macro chart for this current bull cycle. Now, you can see here where all these blue trend lines have been drawn in from. Now, I'm going to just switch over to lines with marker. Now, look at that. Pinpoint accuracy right there. Okay, and the same again at the bottom here. So this is where these sort of blue trend lines kind of originate from. You can see from this 1718 high here how we breach the upper trend line, and exactly the same happens during the 2020-21 cycle. So you got that first peak in April of 21, and then the second peak in October of 21 also. So double peak there. In both instances, we did at least tap the upper blue trend line. You can see on this first peak here that we actually penetrated and exceeded that trend line there. Now, I believe Bitcoin is going a lot higher than most people can imagine. Now, this fractal is taken from the Bitcoin chart as well. So if you know anything about mathematics, advanced mathematics, there's a very interesting concept. It's called the Euler. There's a number called number E. Now, you guys can check that out over on YouTube. There's a professor from Harvard University that studies the markets, and he was the first guy to sort of break Wall Street. It's a popular video, and it's a TED Talk. So if you was to type in Jim Simmons TED Talk into YouTube, search for that. I think it's about a 20-minute video, and he'll talk about the sort of Euler number, and you can see how he's actually, this conceptual idea of the number E kind of replicates in the chart. So what will happen is you'll kind of get a smaller pattern here, and then this smaller pattern will then expand, and then eventually it'll contract into the bear market. So basically, patterns repeat throughout these market cycles. Okay, so what they'll do is a contract, so they'll make some smaller sort of patterns, and then they'll expand into a sort of larger sort of pattern. So the patterns actually repeat, but just on a much larger scale. Now, the reason why I'm calling for around 500k, I'm going to say around 470, 480. Now, these fractals are very sensitive when you start going up into the higher figures, literally a millimeter. If I was to drag this fractal by a millimeter, it would be about another extra $20,000 on top of the Bitcoin price. Okay, so very, very sensitive. So you've got to capture these sort of peaks, if you will, with remarkable accuracy. It's so difficult. But again, 480 to a 500k Bitcoin, it's not going to make, a massive amount of difference in terms of percentage gains. So I'd be taking profits around that sort of 460, 470, 480 sort of mark. And I believe that could possibly be the top of the cycle. Now, I would like to drag this across to September, because I believe Bitcoin will top out in September. Okay, around that. I'd say about 470, 480. Now, this is the Elliott wave pattern. You've probably seen this plenty of times if you do watch other technical analysts over on YouTube. So I believe we're currently in the sort of first wave of a 5-wave count. So you can see here, if I scroll in, we've got this sort of consolidation here. And the reason being is because there's obviously resistance at all-time highs, where we actually printed this all-time high back in 2021. Obviously, we breached it, and that is acting as resistance now. So we're building a solid base now for the next bear market. So these particular prices around that sort of 60,000, anywhere between 50 and 70,000, that sort of range. This will be the sort of base for the next time we revisit the bear. Now, I believe we're going to break out here, set a new all-time high. We'll get a slight pullback. That'll be wave 2. And then that's when we'll go into sort of parabolic sort of phase. So I believe by February we'll be about 135k Bitcoin. Again, we'll do another pullback, and then that is when we go into wave 5. So that'll be the last and final impulse for the bull market. Again, I'm looking at around that 470k mark before we make that ABC correction. We'll break this major support line as well. As you can see, this bottom blue trend line has never been broken in Bitcoin's history, all the way from inception around 2011, 2012 on this particular exchange. Okay, so I believe sometime around, it's looking around 26, maybe mid 26, maybe end of 26 before we actually capitulate. And that's when we revisit this sort of $60,000 mark for Bitcoin, where you can see this yellow line here goes all the way back through these 21 highs and capture this consolidation as well, which we've been building for the past 6-7 months. So this is exactly what Bitcoin's going to do. Rinse and repeat. We'll pump, we'll dump, and markets repeat and rinse and repeat as always. So that is Bitcoin in my opinion. Now we shall get over to, let's just have a look at some of these coins, see which ones are moving. Velo is an interesting chart. Now, I did have some OTA up here. Again, I've come across some other technical analysts recently over on YouTube. They're doing a very, very good job. And they have got a similar actual setup to myself. So I don't know if they've been watching myself in terms of once they're actually plotting TA and stuff like that. But they've got a similar sort of idea where obviously we look to break out. We've retested down here on this yellow trend line, and we're looking to get up to this next area of resistance here, just short of 5 cents. So that's Velo. So good gains to be had with Velo. Now let's go over to, we'll go over to Gala actually. Have we seen Gala? We've done Gala already, have we? So what else have we got? XDC, where are you, baby? Got H bar as well. Let's just have a quick look at XRP Bitcoin. See how that's performing. Now it looks as if you could drag this up here. So I've been having a mess around here. So it looks as if XRP is going to want to explode towards, I would say, again, after the US elections. We're not actually expecting any price action from XRP really up until the at least beginning of the sort of US elections. But the real euphoric moves will be coming, in my opinion, in the first week of January. That is just my opinion. That's just sort of based on the data and the research that I've done. So if I was held at gunpoint and he said, look, Block Bull, which week would you say? I would say from the 6th of January, personally. So there we have it. That's not to say we can't get going earlier. We could break out, we could retest that apex on the XRP USD chart before we get going. But ultimately, on the XRP Bitcoin chart, I would be looking to break out of this wedge, this kind of micro wedge, if you will, by sort of mid-November. So again, still a long way to go. Hence why I've got into Gala to make some interim gains. Now, XDC, where are you? Let's have a look. We're getting up around near enough 3 cent again now, guys. So let's have a look. This is on the daily, which is why it's actually messed my TA up a bit. If I go over to the weekly, that yellow line will marry up. There you go. See, it's married up with that 7.5 cent again. So nothing has changed on the weekly. We are looking to get going with XDC, but again, I'm not expecting any massive moves after the US elections, which is going to be pivotal in my opinion. Whether or not Donald Trump wins the US election, who knows? Obviously, it's going to go right to the wire, I would imagine. And as always, US elections are any major event. Usually they're fixed anyway, so I wouldn't be surprised if Harris actually came out on top there. So yeah, that's XDC. XDC looking really well. I've got the XDC blueprint being released this weekend as well over on the blockbulls.com. The XRP one is available, so you can easily just click on this sort of iPhone icon, if you will, and that'll take you through to the product page. Or you can click on the button underneath if you want to, purchase this particular plan this weekend, and then you can have a read through it this weekend, and then you can see exactly how much gains you stand to make in this bull cycle. Like I said, Sunday will probably be the day I release the XDC one. So at the moment, I've disabled the feature to click through to that particular plan now, as you can see, coming soon. So Sunday, I am looking to launch that product now. I'm very, very excited, guys, and I appreciate your support as always. For now, I've been the Block Bull, and I shall see you next time. Block Bull over and out.